everybody, let me tell you, has in their dreams a dream home in Dubai.
Dubai has a good return on investment. It's between at least 6 to 8% on average you can earn. If you see the past track records, you see number one, India has been one of the major... India being one of the major investors who are investing in.
I'm Dr. Naheed Khan. We are going to have a very special episode podcast on the real estate in Dubai and you being the real estate agent.
I am Mohammed Arshad Zubair. I am originally from Sri Lanka.
The people are getting golden visa also. Can you throw some light?
We see the golden visa having a major hype. Currently in the applicants for the golden visa, there are almost 2 million people who are in the waiting list.
Assalamu alaikum Arshad.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good.
I'm really grateful to you that you took out time and you are here. And today we are going to have a very special episode podcast on the real estate in Dubai and you being the real estate agent. We would be knowing more from you and I'm so excited to have you and to bring to the audience this real subject matter because everybody, let me tell you, has in their dreams a dream home in Dubai. So just to introduce me to the audience, I'm Dr. Naheed Khan and I'm running my company in UAE, Peak Performance Solutions. And I'm a time management coach. I have my programs, Time and Money. And today I'm here hosting on behalf of Me Too Solutions. And I have Arshad here. So welcome once again. So Arshad, I would like you to introduce yourself to the audience about yourself. Thank you.
I need to thank, first of all, Dr. Naheed Khan for coming here as a presenter. And so I am Mohammed Arshad Zubair. I am originally from Sri Lanka. Grew up in Dubai, came to Dubai in 1987. Grew up until I was in grade 2. I schooled in Dubai. And I have been visiting Dubai every 3 months since then because my dad was working in Dubai. So I got into real estate just after COVID. I was working in Sri Lanka in the construction sector. I started my career as a site supervisor and then was also studying quantity surveying. So I am, alhamdulillah, professionally a quantity surveyor by profession. And once I came here in COVID, I was looking for a job in my field at the construction industry. But due to the economic situation during that time and just after COVID, the construction sector was quite down. So it was a bit hard for me to find a job in my field. So alhamdulillah, few of my friends advised me to get into real estate. So that made me start my career in real estate. And it's almost been 3 years in the industry and it's been going well.
Thank you. Thank you for your share. My first question to you, Arshad, that what made you to choose a career in real estate and real estate in Dubai, UAE?
So what made me really choose a career in real estate is I have a passion in construction. Since my young age, I used to go to construction sites because my dad had built a building in Sri Lanka. So I used to help my mom visit the site and supervise the work. So I used to have a passion being in sites. And then I knew construction was an industry where investors can also make money. So what I saw is I was working in a cycle where I have been from a site supervisor and seen how engineers and architects work. So what I noticed in this cycle, if you really see the real estate agent being in the end of the cycle, he sometimes makes more money than an engineer. So I just knew that in sales, sky is the limit, but I have not been in sales before that. But it was a challenge and I took it.
Yeah. And here what I see is you are passionate and this came from your father, as you said, because he made a building and then you used to visit during your childhood. Can you see it was already there in you, which came as a career as you're pursuing this dream. So how come this came in your mind to do the real estate in Dubai?
So basically, since I grew up in Dubai, I had a passion in this country, and so that was a career opportunity which I got to get into real estate. And then so I knew it was a challenging situation, because what happens in our industry initially, companies don't pay you. You have to sell for you to earn a commission. So what happens is, but alhamdulillah, I got a company where I'm currently in, where they for the first 6 months they supported me until I closed my first deal. So that was a great support in this industry.
So, yes, for the audience also, company support, people support. That is what one of the thing which I see is very important for all the viewers here, as we are here, that support really helps. My second question to you is that Dubai has seen a very impressive growth in real estate. So, what are the key drivers behind this growth? And as a real estate agent, what is your prediction for the upcoming 5 to 10 years, as you see how real estate is going to be in Dubai?
It's a great question. So one of the first key factors I see in Dubai and UAE as a whole is the stability in leadership. That has really helped the country have a vision and work on its vision.
Yeah.
So whereas when you compare other countries, due to political influences, when leadership changes, the country's development also changes. So if we have a corrupted leadership, the country falls down. So whereas in Dubai, alhamdulillah, Sheikh Mohammed and his father, they have worked on a vision, and they are able to practicalize, they have an aim, they have a vision on a project, and then they are able to implement it and see that it is successful. So you can see, for example, downtown, for an example, how it has developed to being a great city in Dubai. So that has helped the real estate market flourish. So investors also know when a project is being planned, they are able to get it implemented, and you can see the returns from it. So investors have, for the past 25 years, investors have seen the appreciation of projects and what returns they have got, and that also attracts more investors to come in and invest here, because being a stable economy, stable political situation, the risk factor on investors putting money in Dubai is very low, whereas putting a money in an unstable country is very investors don't want to do it. So I see that as a major factor which has helped us as real estate agents to sell properties with confidence to investors.
Yeah, this is really very true, and audience will agree with me that the government, the governance here, and the whole management of Sheikh Mohammed is really a visionary approach, and it is so much people centric that yes, the investors, you are right, they are benefiting a lot. The rules and the structures are in a way to benefit people. But I want to ask you, like the people are getting golden visa also. Can you throw some light? This is so important.
So basically, the golden visa has helped the Dubai real estate a lot, because international investors are looking for a second home, and Dubai has been an area, a country, UAE as a whole, having the best safety, and standard of living is quite high. So a lot of people are migrating to Dubai, and with my experience as a real estate agent within the last 1 year, especially after COVID, we see a lot of international inquiries directly coming in. So there are people from some countries, they want to sell their property back in their country and invest it here. And we see the golden visa having a major hype. I recently had a conversation with a representative from a major developer. He was informing us that currently in the applicants for the golden visa, there are almost 2 million people who are in the waiting list. So that shows the number of people who want to get the golden visa and who want to come and settle in this country. So that itself is a sign that there is so much demand for properties, because when the population increases, they need a place to stay. So with this current rate of developments happening in Dubai, it's going to help the people to have a location to live in. Because if you rarely see in Dubai buildings empty without people living in. So the other major reason, if you want to see why rents have been going up in Dubai, there have been more people coming in. So it's basically demand versus supply. If there was no demand for apartments and places for rent, the rents won't go up because there are people who are able to come and pay a higher rent and live in. So it's going with it's increasing with a valid cost where people, especially from abroad, they are willing to pay and settle in a good place.
Which is the country who is mostly you are seeing investing in Dubai, UAE?
Yeah, so if you see the past track records, you see number one, India has been one of the major India being one of the major investors who are investing in. And if you see in the European region, you see Germany, Britain, France,
Britain.
they are major investors who are basically from Britain. You can see a lot of people migrating. They're migrating to live in Dubai. So that's a major sign to show that Dubai has a good standard of living for people to come and settle in this country.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. My third question to you is that as an investor, there is a short term flipping and there is a long term investment gain. So, how do I decide as an investor? Like, what should I go for? What is your suggestion?
So, normally when we speak to a client, we see what's the investment amount they want to put in and what type of return are they looking at. So normally when we deal with businessmen, they want to see that they get a return fast, because if they invest that same money in a business, they get a quick return. So, but whereas real estate, you need to wait until the property matures, especially if it's an off-plan project. You need to wait at least till the construction has started, at least 1.5 years from inception of the project. So for businessmen, they normally go for flipping of properties. But whereas when you have end users or people who are working for a company, like they're getting a fixed income, then they go for a more long-term investment. Mostly they either go for mortgage, where they buy a ready property, and then either it's for an end use or they give it on rent and earn and see that their installments for the loan is paid through the rent.
Thank you so much. And this helps the audience because the flipping word is I am seeing in so many posts and sharing and training. So you have explained it so well. My fourth question to you is that the Dubai rentals, how do you compare it with the London and the New York market? And how does Dubai rentals stand out?
So when you see Dubai as a whole, when you compare the return on investment, Dubai has a good return on investment. It's between at least 6 to 8% on average you can earn. Whereas when you compare New York and London, it's between 3 to 4% the net return from rental returns what you gain. So Dubai is giving a good rental return, and investors also benefit because the income is not being taxed. Whereas in European countries, your income from real estate is being taxed.
So my fifth question to you is, what are the strategies that you use for investors who are coming with you to minimize the risk and maximize the returns?
Yeah. So number one, we look at the location. How prominent is the location for the investment? And in the future, do you see more growth there? And is there a tendency of the property appreciating?
True.
Because when you invest in an area which is already reached its maximum price, okay, there will be an appreciation, but the appreciation won't be great. But when you invest on a project, especially when you take an off-plan project, when it's a master community, when you invest on the inception stage, that's when it's a good buy. And then after 5, 6, 7 years, you can see the fruits of it. Property would have appreciated well. And then number two is going with the right developer. So the developer makes a big say, especially in the real estate in UAE, because when you work with a master developer who has well-proven track records. Like example, if you see downtown, Dubai Hills, Marina, you have seen especially MR, they have the capacity to do projects capacity to do projects like a city. There's no other developer in the world who can make cities like this. So you're buying a property in a city which it might take 7 to 10 years for it to be completed as a whole. But then each time when new developments happen in it, for example, if you see Dubai Hills, once the mall was completed, properties appreciated more. So when an amenity in a community is being developed and completed, then that also helps in the improvement of the appreciation of the property. And number 3 is you have to see the demand in the secondary market, whether because in every investment there's a stage where you will need to exit. So when you want to exit, you will have to see whether it has a demand, whether you can sell it fast, and how is the pricing in the secondary market. So all this helps in choosing the right investment.
Can you name the developers who you work with?
Yeah, so I basically advise investors to work with developers who have a good track record. If you see for the last 10 years, how have their developments been, and are they managing the community well, and do you see an appreciation in their properties? So that helps in a client investor to choose the right developer. And I always recommend to go with the government backed developers such as MR, Nakheel, Dubai Properties, Wasl. They have been having a good reputation in the market since the time of inception of Dubai real estate.
Can you tell us some emotional story of one of your closing, which is very close to your heart and you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, so I basically started my career in Muruj Al Furjan. That was the time when it was just launched, and I started my career in the secondary market resale of off-plan projects. So there was a unit, a 4-bedroom villa, which was I was in contact with the owner since the time I started my career. So at that time, I was trying to sell that property, and I had a buyer that was also a colleague of mine who had the buyer. So we almost were to close the deal. But at the last minute, the seller decided that he doesn't want to sell, because it was just might be 1 year after the time he bought the property. So it was not a big, he didn't have a big appreciation in it. But what he decided is he wanted to keep it. So it was emotionally a bit of a tough time when you are unable to you come till the end and you're unable to close it. But then he gave me a promise that he will somehow see that the next property he buys, he will buy through me. So it didn't end there. So what happened is I suggested him to buy there was a project in Nashama, that's Town Square. Nashama was the developer. So it was the last cluster called Maha. It was a townhouse. So what happened is he didn't come only with him. He also bought one of his friend, and we ended up buying 2 townhouses. So it didn't end there. So what happens is when we have our connection with the client, it's a long-term connection. So now what happened is Muruj Al Furjan was just handed over end of last year. So now the property had really appreciated. He bought it for almost 3.5 million, and today it had appreciated to almost 7 million. So it came to a stage where he wanted to sell it. So I opted him. What he basically said is he either wants to rent it, and if he gets a good deal, he will sell it. So at the beginning of this year, we had a viewing. So it was basically a client who came looking for a villa to purchase, and alhamdulillah, he agreed on it. But then, as I told you, on every deal, there are crucial times where the closure is not easy. So this was the incidence where it was a mortgage client. So normally in Dubai, for end products, the end users normally purchase through mortgage because you don't have a cash flow to put in money at that time, because pumping in a big amount is not the capacity of everyone, especially when you're working for a fixed income. So what really happened is, okay, he got the mortgage approved, and we were almost to sign the MOU. So at the last minute, we have a clause in the MOU where if the mortgage is not being approved by the bank, then the deal is null and void. So we normally have an MOU for 2 months if it's a mortgage client. So my seller, he had a valid reasoning that there's nothing to safeguard himself by getting into the deal. If the seller is unable to get the mortgage, then he's going to lose that time, 2 months. Either he would have been able to rent it or sell it to another client. So there is a loss there. So what he told me is, this is not a common clause, but he suggested me is, okay, he wants at least 1 month compensation of rent if this deal doesn't get through. So, but then the buyer didn't agree for it because it's not a clause which is normally there. So, so I was negotiating with both the sides, trying to come to a middle ground. So at the end, it was a bit emotional. I also just suggested the seller, okay, if the deal doesn't go through, I will see that I will pay him even a 1 month's rent to see that somehow we go through the deal, because the percentage of him the buyer not getting the mortgage approved is very low, because he was a person of a high profile individual who was having a very stable job in a multinational company. So Alhamdulillah, we signed the MOU, and he has also got his mortgage also approved. Yeah.
This is really an emotional story, yes, being between the buyer and the seller. But you did it all. This is really inspiring and a very heart-touching story. One big thing which I know about you, and I would love to share with the audience, is you are a townhouse villa specialist. So why did particularly you choose this niche, or why do you recommend people buying a villa or a townhouse?
So overall, I advise investors thinking that if I'm putting my own money, how well I will invest it in. I will want to see a long-term growth in their investment. So overall, when you see the supply of townhouses and villas compared to apartments, it's less. So it's demand versus supply. And when you see the returns investors have benefited comparing to townhouses and apartments, they have got more returns in some good projects where townhouses have got and villas have got good gains. And also I see on a long-term perspective, where if you see a plot of land with a house, it can be transferred from generation to generation. So it has a long-term effect, where even if you see back in our countries, houses are lasting from 50 to 100 years. So what really happens is, if you take an example in Dubai, Meadows, it's almost 20 years old. And now if you see in the market, these houses are being upgraded and resold at a much higher price. Whereas if you compare this with an apartment, you cannot really upgrade and get the property to get appreciated, because overall the building will start getting old, and there is a maximum time limit that building can stand. Whereas if you own a plot, you have a title deed, which is forever. That's what you call the freehold property. But whereas a building, there will come a time where the building has to be demolished, and your investment will just be a piece of paper where it will have a future project or some other plans coming in. But a house and a villa, it's something which can go for a long time.
This is a golden nugget in this podcast that you have given to the audience, that this is really a gift, a legacy, also with the investment which the investors can give to the next generation. This is truly amazing. So let me please ask you now, what is so special about you that is different than other real estate agents, and you feel it is your USP, it is unique in you?
Number one, what I see is that's all agents should be like that, is the ethics and being genuine and not cheating the client. And then what I see is my main USP is, since I have come from a construction background, I can help the client in even in the construction aspect. Basically, from the beginning, from the valuation, I could help him get a good valuation for his property, and then also if he needs to do a renovation or do any upgrading in his property, I can help him in that. So it's an overall advantage. If the client works with me, I help him in other aspects of his deal which he needs to do when he wants to buy a property.
So, like, it's a relationship forever after, even after that sale.
Yeah.
Another thing which is coming to my mind is that how do you see your competition?
Yeah, competition in every market. When you have competition, you want to work harder. So what I see with competition is it helps me to improve myself more and be in par with the other real estate agents in the community. So number one I see is when you want to be a competitive, successful agent or professional or businessman, it's about growth and learning. So
Collaboration.
You need collaboration, learning, and upgrading yourself. So you need to work with the right agents if you want to be a successful agent. Because for an example, I closed my first deal not alone. I had another agent who had the seller and I had the buyer. So it was all about collaboration. And then and working with the trustworthy agents who also will help you to grow. So that has really helped me in my career.
Yeah. So this is really a powerful message which so many people are giving, but you are practicing it, that collaboration is the key. And also you being a person of values, so the right person who is of your value, this collaboration actually works for you and it works for anyone. And now something which is very, I think most of the people would like you to answer, that this is actually very stressy. The real estate is not easy. The work life balance and the pressures here, because huge money involved, and the investors, the buyer, seller, the negotiations. So what do you think about your work life balance, or what is your practice?
So to tell you frankly, it's a tough question to answer, especially when we were in the initial stage of our career. It took me, as I told you, 6 months to close my first deal. So in the initial stage, I used to work late nights. Until now, I work late nights. So you need to have a strategy, and so to at the beginning, the work-life balance is not easy. But then after you establish yourself, okay, you are able to manage. But being in our industry, we have to be available whenever the client requires us to be there. So normally clients are available on the weekends. So it's not we cannot fix our time that on weekends we can get an off, because even on a Sunday a client might want to do a viewing. So if we want to make that deal successful, we have to be there to attend him, have the meetings, and try to close the deal. And also, especially as I told you, in our industry, it's quite competitive. So if a client agrees to buy a property, we normally see that within the shortest time possible, we try to sign the MOU. So even if it's 12 o'clock in the midnight, if we really want to close the deal, we have to see that we sign the MOU. Because sometimes if we wait for the next day, either one of the parties can reject. Either the seller can say, no, he's not happy with the price, he has got a better offer. Or the buyer can say, no, he has found a different property, cheaper and better. So if when both parties agree, we see that somehow, even if it's a weekend or in the midnight, we see that we are able to successfully get the MOU signed. So the other advantage, alhamdulillah, in Dubai is everything is computerized. It's not like other countries where you need to go to a lawyer and get an MOU signed. Here everything is online. Even if the sellers or the buyers are living abroad, with the click of a button, they can sign the MOU. So that has made real estate transactions happen more faster.
So your time management, you are working on learning and like you are working on it.
Yeah, so basically, when you see from January, I have been working with you. So that has really helped me get myself organized and use my time efficiently. So within a period of 1 week, where on January I was able to close 3 deals, it was basically okay. I had the sellers, had the buyers, but it was how efficiently I used my time to see that I focus on the main important things and give that focus, which really helps to get your time and work more productive. And at the end of the day, it helps you in earning better also.
Yeah, thank you for like sharing your result and sharing your working with me. Also, I would like to ask you, did you double your income while working on your time management with
Yeah.
me?
So as I told you, where uh, by organizing the time and using it more efficiently, it helps you. Sometimes what happens is it's okay. You cannot give a, a guaranteed formula where okay, if you work productively, you're going to get see the results immediately. But over a period of time, it will really help you because
Did you see results in
yeah,
your
alhamdulillah,
monitoring?
alhamdulillah, especially
Alhamdulillah.
by having someone who is monitoring you
Yeah.
and seeing where you're wasting your time, especially after doing the time audit, it
Yeah.
really helps you to see that in which areas you're wasting your time and which areas you need to focus and give in more time, need to improve in the productivity. So that obviously helps you to grow your income also.
Yeah.
So in any industry, even if you see a factory, they work on time audits.
Correct.
So and then they have a target. So only then the factory is successful by giving their production on time and with good quantities. So the same thing applies to us as a human, where we use our time productively and then see that our time wasters are being reduced.
Yes, this is for the audience. Time wasters were reduced. You did time audit with me, and you also, like the people as they run with the to do list, you chose to work on the week, planning the week and having every day executed with the winning work week formula which you have worked. So I want to really acknowledge you because you are one of the person. It is 1% in the world the people who work on themselves. So this is why you outstand from other real estate agents, because when you are continuously working on yourself, you are able to give that to your clients. So thank you so much. This was a powerful share, I think, for the audience. Arshad, if you were to guide a new investor, what are the 3 mistakes you would like to share with people for them to avoid?
Yeah, number one is I see that sometimes agents they pressurize the client to go and invest on a property, and they feel that pressure because some agents they really push. But you have to number one is they have to do their own market research, especially when you're doing an investment because it's an investment of high value. Because with my experience, I have seen many investors. They sometimes do their first investment in a wrong way because they just depend blindly on an agent's perspective and put the money, and then after 4 years they realize that they are unable to resell. There's not been much of an appreciation. So then that's how they learn, and then they do their own market research. So I advise them to always speak to other investors, get an understanding, learn, and then put their hard-earned money in. And number two, I will also advise them to see that they. Number two is Dubai. Everything is transparent. You have few sites like DXB Interact, where you can see all the past transactions, how the property has been performing, and the appreciation. And then number three is they have to go with developers who have been who have an number three is they have to work with developers who have a escrow account being registered when they launch a project, because there are some investors, they directly pay the developer, not through the escrow. And then if the project has any issues, delays, or even abandoned, then the Dubai Land Department won't take responsibility. So sometimes you can lose the whole investment. So I just want to elaborate. Some investors might be not knowing about the escrow account. So basically, the escrow account is an account which is partly managed by the Dubai Land Department. So all the money which is being deposited to the developer, it's being managed by the Dubai Land Department. So only they will be releasing the money as per the stage of construction progress. So even if the client has paid in 100%, not all the money will be released to the developer. Only if they have reached that particular milestone, it will be released accordingly.
Yeah.
So that has a safety where the investor is sure that his money is being spent in a proper way.
So I'm summarizing your 3 points. You have said that instead of the hype, the investor has to do the market research. Secondly, you have said that the ROI, the return on investment, is really important to know while getting in the project. And the third thing is we should not ignore the exit strategies. Yeah, very
so,
valuable.
So basically, I want to elaborate on another point is, so you can judge before investing on a project if the past developer, their projects have been appreciating, have investors seen returns. So because any developer, if you're investing with an established developer, that gives you more guarantee on your returns.
Yeah.
Because when it's a new developer in the market, you won't know how well it will perform. Will they deliver it on time? Whether there will be an appreciation? Because in Dubai, the developer's brand plays a major role in the return on investment.
Yeah. My last question to you for the audience, which is really important, is like for the people who want to earn a lifetime passive income after their retirement through Dubai real estate. So, what is your strategy or what is your sharing with them?
So what I advise them is like every person, there's a time limit they can work. So there's a time we all have to retire. So when you retire, you always want to see that you have a fixed income coming in. So real estate around the world has been one of the stable forms of investment as a passive income. So whereas you don't have to put in much effort, you will be getting your rental returns, and even if you want to flip the property, it could be flipped with real estate. Whereas if you take an example, if you invest in a business, especially in the time of retirement, and you are not able to manage the business, it's being managed by someone else. So there's always the percentage of loss is there. So sometimes there are months you won't be getting a return if the business is making losses. But whereas if a property is rented, there's always a fixed flow of income coming in. So I always advise people who are working, especially in UAE, to see that they invest their money in UAE.
Yeah.
Because UAE is a proven market for end users and investors to get good returns comparing to other countries. And UAE has been allowing international investors to invest, and all those investors have been gaining good returns from their investment in Dubai and UAE as a whole.
Thank you so much. This is a golden piece for people who are earning in UAE, Dubai, to invest in Dubai, because you already know the place, governance, and it is giving good returns. Thank you so much. And Arshad, thank you so much for being here and giving your very valuable time. I would actually like you to again come back with some new set of training and new set of sharing with the audience, because today's session was really, I think it makes a lot sense to the investors. So thank you for being here.
Thank you once again for coming, Dr. Naheed, and initiating this program and helping it to happen. Thank you.